Okay. We're gonna go live to Facebook. All right, and we are live. So hello, Darren. Thank you for watching. Hello, and my name is Carrie Bible, and welcome to another installment of Hollywood Kitchen. Today, we are going to celebrate, well, we're actually celebrating a lot of centennials this coming summer, but today we're going to celebrate the centennial of Bea Arthur. She was born May 13th, 1922, so technically her 100-year anniversary was last month, but that's okay. Any time is a good time to celebrate Bea Arthur, in my opinion. So I have many returning regulars from Hollywood Kitchen that I'm sure you will know and recognize. Barbara Boyd Doss coming to us from San Diego.
Hi, everyone.
Hello. Allison Francis from the Mid-Wilshire area, Miracle Mile. And Danny and Charles Miller coming to us from West Adams section of LA. So welcome, you guys.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us. We're all going to make totally different things too today. So we've got a variety of cool recipes, which is awesome. And I'd like to go ahead and get started with mine because it's technically melting in front of me. So I can place it on mine. Okay, so I'm still in my cemetery dress. I had a private cemetery tour and a senior lecture, and now I'm doing Hollywood Kitchen. So today's been insane, and I'm still in my tour dress. But I thought it would sound so refreshing to make a beverage, an ice cold summer beverage. So I am making the lemon basil cooler, which I got from the Golden Girls cookbook. And I thought this sounded like a wonderful summer recipe to make and also a refreshing thing to have after a tour is over. So I'll make mine and talk about it briefly. And then we'll get to everybody and talk about Bea Arthur, the food, and everything. So, all right, it's rapidly melting. Okay, so before we went on camera, I'm scaling mine down a little bit, but what I did is I took the cold water, sugar, and some basil from the gardens of Chateau Bible, where I live, and I heated it up over the stove, and now I'm letting it cool. So I'm going to drain out the stuff here and use a drain thingy. Get it all over the table. Nice. Okay. Go me. Go me. Okay. Now I'm going to stir in some lemon juice. I hand squeezed the lemon juice. My 30s depression glass. Okay. So now I've got the lemon juice, the syrup, and I'm going to fill the glass here. You can use either, you could use alcohol if you want to. I'm going to make mine non-alcoholic. And you can also use club soda, seltzer, or sparkling water. So I'm going to use sparkling water here. All right, now adding the rapidly melting ice cubes. It's so hot in here. Oh my gosh.
It looks
refreshing. Garnish with basil. And voila, we have lemon basil cooler. Beautiful. So perfect for drinking out on the lanai with the girls.
I never heard of making basil water like that. That's interesting. I bet it tastes so good.
Oh my gosh, yes. I kind of like to go light on sugar in my drinks. I don't like really sugary sweet drinks. I just like a little bit. So that's kind of why I went off on my own thing here. Okay, this having been made. We'll start with you, Danny. How did you first find out about the glorious Bea Arthur?
Oh gosh, well, I am much older than all of you. And I was a big All in the Family viewer when I was a kid. And then one day, you know, we got so used to Archie. Boy, everything about that show was fantastic, but it could never happen today, the stuff they used to do on that show. But one day, there's Edith's cousin, Maude Finley, who is like the antithesis, you know, Archie's nemesis, because she comes in. Edith obviously was very you know, subservient to him in some ways. But Maude comes in, she's a diehard liberal from New York, and she just wipes the floor with him. Oh my God, did I laugh? I was like all of 12 or 13 at the time.
Oh, so around
Yeah, around Charles's age. And then she came on again. They loved her so much. Norman Lear thought she was one of the funniest comedians ever.
Still alive.
Norman Lear is still alive. How old is he?
Yes.
100 on July 27th.
Oh, 100. You need to do a Norman Lear show.
Oh my gosh.
Get him
he's
on.
so new.
But anyway, so she came on again they decided to have a TV show for her about Maude, but the pilot was an episode of All in the Family. And our now dear friend, Marcia Rod, played her daughter. She chose not to do the series. So Adrienne Barbeau got it, a decision that her name was Marcia Rod. She was wonderful in it. And she's marrying in the episode a Jewish guy and trying to keep the bachelorette parties in the bunker's house. And obviously for various reasons, trying to keep Archie out, and very funny. But then Maude started, and I was such a fan that I think I was 14 then, wrote Bea Arthur a letter from my little house in Chicago and was just flabbergasted. Here's my holy relic that I'm going to share with you before I get any food on it. And I've checked online, that is Bea Arthur's handwriting. I can't believe she even addressed the envelope to this little dumb kid in Chicago. And I was thrilled. God only knows what I said to her, but she wrote me this letter back, very sweet. I mean, not very personal or anything, but like just sitting in her dressing room, taking the time to write back to a little kid. It says, "Dear Danny, thanks so much for your letter. It was sweet of you to take the time to write to me. I hope you continue to watch and enjoy the show. Sincerely, Beatrice Arthur." So I treasure this very much. Now, you know, coming from a Jewish family, I also knew, and it's funny how many people who love Bea Arthur, like this fact sometimes slips by them, that she originated the role of Yenta in Fiddler on the Roof. Those of us who've only seen the movie know Yenta, the matchmaker, as tiny little Molly Pecan, the Yiddish actress, and not, you know, 5'11" Bea Arthur towering, but I've heard the soundtrack a million times. She has a couple great numbers. This one song called "The Rumor" that you should all look up that isn't in the movie at all. But she created that role. And of course, she was raised Jewish. Her name was Bernice Frankel. Her parents, Philip and what was her mother's name? I forgot. They were immigrants from Eastern Europe, like my family members were. But she never played a Jewish character. I remember Norman Lear saying, if Maude had been Jewish, it would have just been about that and not just, they wanted to be broader, and that she's just this liberal giving Archie what for. But so I made a dish that's the literal opposite of Carrie's refreshing drink. It's boiling hot chicken soup in our kitchen today. But, and I'm calling it Yenta's Jewish Penicillin. I sent the recipe that Carrie can put in the blog, but it's, you know, very traditional. Boil a chicken, get the scum off. You put, I'm not making it for you, but I have it here. We're having it for dinner. It's delicious. So if you make it, it's got noodles and carrots and celery and pieces of chicken and a special, very Eastern European thing, marrow bones. And I thought I would take one just to freak Carrie out, because then the big delicacy is taking out the marrow from the bone. We love this here. And eating it. We'll demonstrate Charles eating the marrow. I don't know, have you ever had marrow, Carrie? I remember I tried to give you something Jewish and you freaked out. Was it gefilte fish? I don't remember.
Just look, you know, it's not that I'm not open to eating things from other cultures. I totally am.
Oh, I know you are.
But the sight of gefilte fish was a bridge too far for me.
I'm going to make it from scratch next year, and I'll make you eat some. It's going to be so good. But so anyway, I loved Maude. I mean, the topics, and I know Allison's going to talk about it too. The topics they covered on that show: abortion. Maude had, the first TV abortion. It was right before Roe v. Wade. Homosexuality. She went to therapy. I mean, just things that were not dealt with at all. It was a great show. No, we'll eat that later. And then Charles, my son, who's obsessed with supercentenarians and elderly people. And when the day he had been so looking forward to Betty White's Centennial.
Yeah.
And I remember you came to me, I was standing right there actually, and we both like screamed when we heard that she had died right before her 100th birthday. But since that day, last December, we've been watching 2 episodes of Golden Girls every night. And so we're going through we're up to almost the end of season 6.
Yeah.
So we're almost done. But I'm gonna find Maude, because we can't let go of Bea Arthur. I mean, and I'll tell one more story and shut up. In the 80s,
we also watch the Golden Palace.
We'll watch the Golden Palace, but Bea Arthur isn't on the sequel. So it could never work. Her timing was so great. I went to a taping once with my mother, who was visiting me in LA after I first moved here in the late 80s. And I went to the taping, and there was a line that Estelle Getty kept messing up. And they were doing this one scene. I don't remember what episode it was, but like literally, I mean, I swear to God, they did it like 12 times. Every single time Bea Arthur read her line, I hysterically laughed, like perfect for a laugh track, because her delivery was just that good. She's so amazing. So we love Bea Arthur here. I cherish this like if I had the finger of a saint. And we're happy you're honoring her today.
Oh, thank you. Allison, we'll do you next, and then we'll get to you, Barbara. So Allison, how did you first discover the wonder of Bea Arthur?
Well, thanks to my parents. I would watch when it first came on. I was watching Golden Girls with them. Obviously, some of the things that they would talk about went over my head because I was a kid. Same. But I always loved it. And, anytime you find repeats on, I'd sit and watch it. But I always loved Bea Arthur. I thought Dorothy was hilarious. And it wasn't even just her delivery. It was also her facial expressions when she did them. Just the pause, and I mean, it just made the line even better. I mean, it just, all of that with her, she was just amazing. Her with Sophia were always my favorite parts, but she was just fabulous. And so after watching them over and over and over again, finally realized I've never seen Maude, and I rented it, I think the first season on Netflix, and I was hooked. I mean, like, I love Golden Girls, but I love Maude. I think she is hilarious. And the topics, like you said before, Danny, I mean, they were so ahead of the time. I mean, like you said, abortion, women working in general, they would talk about that, alcoholism, abuse. I mean, it was just everything. And that was just so amazing for the time that was being spoken about. So, I can sit and watch Bea Arthur anytime it's on. I love it. I love her. So for what I decided to make is I was trying to look up something that was actually her own. And I was reading an article about she made a Chinese chicken salad. And supposedly Adrienne Barbeau was interviewed in this article. And she says to this day, she still makes Bea Arthur's Chinese chicken salad. So it's my first time doing it. And it was my first time poaching anything. I had to poach the chicken, which was just like, wow, okay. But yes, I got the lettuce ready. I've got the chicken all poached. And I actually even had to make the salad dressing, which was, I've never made salad dressing. So that was like 3 tablespoons of sesame oil, 1 tablespoon of sugar, and 1 teaspoon of dry mustard. So I made all that. I'm going to put it all together, but it was really interesting that when I sent you the recipe, I've never cooked with dry sherry before. I was just like, this is really old school, and I'm loving it. So I'm hoping that it came out tasting good. I'll try it on my husband first. I don't know if the kids will do it, but I have, my daughter is very much into Golden Girls too. So I got at least one of the 2 who loves Golden Girls. But yeah, that's where Bea Arthur and I met Golden Girls.
How about you, Barbara? When did you first discover Bea Arthur?
I discovered Bea Arthur like Danny. We're probably about the same age. Maude ran from 72 to 78. So I was 8 to 14. And so I didn't have a whole lot of really strong female role models when I was growing up. So like 1970s TV, Mary Tyler Moore, Maude, some of those wonderful women who worked and just had opinions and were very independent, were really influential to me. So certainly loved Maude, loved the song. I could still sing the song, but I won't. And then also what I also remember seeing her first in is Mame with Lucille Ball. I know that's not a critically acclaimed, movie. People don't like it. I love it because I love Lucy. And I think Bea Arthur was so wonderful in that. I know she did it on the stage, so I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to ever see that, but she was just wonderful as Vera. So that was another first, you know, way to get to know Bea Arthur. So, and then, you know, then of course the Golden Girls, how can we not love the Golden Girls? And both shows, Maude and Golden Girls, were just so kind of groundbreaking to me in that they dealt with so many different, you know, social issues with humor and warmth. And so, yeah, just love Bea, love her. So I made something that's in the freezer. So I'm gonna go grab it. You guys can talk amongst yourselves and then I'll tell you about my recipe.
I'll tell you about how I first saw them. Allison and I are about the same age, and I saw them on TV when I was a kid in the Golden Girls. That's how I first discovered Bea Arthur. And yeah, the sex jokes went completely over my head. A lot of the jokes, now that I watch it as an adult, I'm like, oh, that's what they were talking about. Okay.
It's racy. I can't even believe it today.
Yeah, I'm kind of shocked they got away with some of what they got away with. But I thought it was really funny, even though I didn't understand some of it. I thought it was funny. And my parents let me watch it, which was awesome. So that was like must-see TV, Saturday nights at like 7 or something. And as Allison has noted, sometimes I will just laugh out loud at Bea Arthur just because her reactions. Like Blanche will be telling some crazy story about one of her men, and Bea Arthur will just be like, I can't even do the expression, but she'll just have an expression, and I will laugh so hard. I bet all of my neighbors hear me because just the look on her face is just, oh, I'm sure it's somewhere on YouTube, but I bet someone's probably edited together every one of her like reactions to Blanche or her reactions to Rose and put them all in like a clip package, you know, because no one can react like Bea Arthur can react. It is priceless comedy gold.
Definitely. She had that deadpan that just exactly, you could just look at her and crack up. So for my recipe, I found a recipe online for Bea Arthur. It's a company called Big Gay Ice Cream. It's a company in New York. And so they do some really wild and crazy soft serve ice cream. So they have one called the Dorothy for their Golden Girl. They also now have a Rose, but I made the Dorothy and it's in my Golden Girls mug. And so it's vanilla ice cream injected with dulce de leche and with crumbled vanilla wafers. So I went ahead and put some bananas in the ice cream because to me, vanilla wafers and bananas go together.
Amen, sister.
First time I made ice cream and it came out pretty well, but yeah, so I'm gonna enjoy this.
Everybody, send me pics of your food as if you can mix with something Bea Arthur related, but if not, just whatever. I'd love to post those as well. Oh man, if I could teleport to San Diego right now.
And I made extra. I wish I could share it with you guys. I made extra.
By the way, I didn't, and next time any of you guys are in my neighborhood, I haven't made it yet because of time, but I got the ingredients to also make the cherry cheesecake ice cream recipe out of this book. So that is on my list to make this week. I just need to get to it.
Nice.
But I love that we all made something radically different in tribute to Bea Arthur.
And they would all go well together.
I'm sorry, what, Allison?
I said we kind of made a full meal, all of us, the drinks, the salad.
Yeah, got our soup, our sandwich.
We're all set.
Exactly.
Yeah. I love how I didn't even plan it that way either. It just kind of worked out.
By the way, speaking of my chicken soup and Yenta and her Jewish upbringing, I always thought it was funny that the two Italian characters are the two Jewish women on the show. Estelle Getty was also Jewish and I think buried at Hollywood Forever, right, Carrie?
She is. I was just there today. Well, let me ask you this, Danny. How come they made them Italian and not Jewish? Did they think it was more mainstream or what was the thought?
You know, I never read that, but as you know, there's a very fine line in terms of just manner and obsession with food between, you know, Jews and Italians. We're kind of cut from the same cloth. They pulled it off well. You'd never, you know, I think people are surprised when they hear that they were both Jewish. And of course, the amazing thing that wasn't Estelle Getty like a year younger than Bea Arthur.
Yeah, they were like a year in age difference. And of course, whenever they do the flashbacks and she looks like way younger, that's how she looked at the time.
Yeah. Oh God, we love that show so much.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Well, I think too, Sophia had this thing about the mob and Sicily and the toughness. So I think that kind of plays into the whole Godfather Italian thing, you know?
Yeah, like in real life, Bea Arthur was born in 1922 and Estelle Getty in 1923, but Sophia was born in 1905 and Dorothy in 1932.
Yeah, Charles knows all the birth dates of them in real life, but also the Golden Girls characters, because they all fudged it a little bit, especially obviously Sophia. But one other thing about Maude, you know, this in the days before the internet, you know how you heard those theme songs every day? And I also love that song. And I couldn't quite get all the lyrics. So I wrote to frickin' CBS in LA from Chicago, and they sent me back a sheet of the lyrics, which of course then I memorized by heart. I was thinking we should have a sing along. It's such a great song. Yeah. Since Barbara, you know it by heart, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
Now I was thinking it yesterday, my wife was horrified at the line about Joan of Arc. It's a little irreverent. There's so few things from the 70s that would even pass muster today. But should we give it a quick go?
Yes, I want to hear it.
Okay.
I don't know it that well.
Lady Godiva was a freedom rider. She didn't care if the whole world looked. Joan of Arc with the Lord to guide her. This is the offensive line. She was a sister who really cooked. Isadora was the first bra burner. Ain't you glad she got showed up? And when the country was falling apart, Betsy Ross got it all sewed up. And then there's Maude. And then there's Maude. And then there's that uncompromising, enterprising, anything but tranquilizing. Right on, Maude. I realize it's hard to sing in sequence on Zoom when we're delayed, but it wasn't too bad.
When I was working on this episode, I sometimes, you know, when I'm doing work at my other gig, I'll put on something and listen to it in the background. And there's if you go on YouTube, there's a Lifetime channel original intimate portrait or whatever, and they did one on Bea Arthur, and they had this story that ties into classic Hollywood. I didn't know if you guys have heard it. How she was doing a show in New York on Broadway with Tallulah Bankhead. And Tallulah, to the surprise of no one, was not nice to her. And how when Tallulah came out, she got all this applause. And she turned to Bea Arthur and said, "It's because of bone structure, darling." And she was kind of just really awful to her. And Dorothy, or maybe Bea Arthur, vowed she would become a star and she would show Tallulah what she was, you know, that the whole story, I'm probably getting it somehow wrong, but the whole story is on the Lifetime intimate portrait on YouTube of Bea Arthur.
We did see her one-woman show that she did here in LA and then brought it to Broadway, which was amazing. That was kind of late in life, but she sang all her songs from Mame and Fiddler on the Roof and just a bunch of other ones. It was so great. By the way, she won an Emmy for a Tony for Mame. And there's this amazing, if you haven't seen this clip from the Tonys of her later on, years later, of her and Angela Lansbury singing Bosom Buddies, where that's one of the best things on YouTube.
I love that. Yes, I've seen it. So good.
Excellent. Yeah, I just love her so much, and I love that she worked with Angela Lansbury and Tallulah Bankhead and so many of these incredibly familiar other performers to us. When I told a friend of mine I was going to do a Bea Arthur episode, she said, "Well, you have to make her rack of lamb. She opens her show with that recipe." And I was like, and not that I'm a vegetarian. I mean, I do eat white meat chicken and I eat turkey, but I'm trying to cut way down on meat consumption. And so I thought, lamb? I don't think I can cook lamb. I just felt so wrong about the idea of that. So I might post a link so people can see her talk about her lamb recipe, but I just couldn't bring myself to actually make it.
It's so funny though, how she goes into explicit detail. It's just like a bit in between her songs and stuff. She constantly coming back to the lamb.
And also, speaking of lamb, on October 26, 2020, we made the national dish of Norway, which is...
well, my wife and you are in the same cloth, Carrie, because we made this lamb dish from Norway for one of our super centenarians. Yeah. And she was so grossed out, she wouldn't even help with the dishes because she couldn't even look at it.
I just think of cute little lambs and fluffy tails hopping in fields. And I can't wrap my head around, let's slice it up. I
like a good leg of lamb.
Okay. One time, I'm Southern, and one time I was home in Georgia. I went in the kitchen and there are all these giant monsters crawling out of the sink, and I screamed and I ran out the yard. I'm like, Daddy, something is so wrong with the plumbing. And my dad's like, Carrie, we're having a crawdad cookout. We're just getting it ready in the kitchen. I was like, I am not eating anything that looks like that. I was just so horrified by it. They look like 50s B movie monsters. They totally do. Oh, I know I'm a ninny, but whatever.
I'm with you, Carrie.
Yeah.
Where was that though?
Now, we should also say, I've always was so impressed and touched with that, and maybe we're going to get to this, but when she died, that she was so.
It was 2 days before I was born.
2 days before Charles was born. He stole her thunder, but she was such a good friend of the LGBT community, and she left $300,000 in her will that became this amazing center for kids in New York, LGBT kids who've been thrown out by their families, have nowhere else to go. I think that, I mean, she was what we would say in our culture, a real mensch. Just so great that she cared that much that she made sure after she died that her money would go to that.
That means a person in German.
That's really fantastic. She did that. So what did the lamb taste like? I'm very curious, Charles, Danny.
Oh, well, that, I admit the Norwegian one was a little heady. It's called fårikål, and it's just a bunch of cabbage and big chunks of lamb.
Yeah.
I'm sure Bea Arthur's was very delicate and delicious. But, you know, I was reading about her, and she had we always think, oh my God, who makes 2 sitcoms that are that amazingly popular and successful? She also had a bunch that didn't make it. Do you remember that she was the lead in the attempted American version of Fawlty Towers? And that just went nowhere. And then when Maude ended, do you remember that she won like city or state senator or something? And that was going to be, because she was done with that format, but Norman Lear wanted her to go to Washington and be a senator or something as Maude with a whole new cast of people. And then that just, I think she did like 2 episodes and like, that's not for me. And I remember at the time her saying, you strike lightning, I'm done with TV, it'll never happen again. And then here she is on Golden Girls, which are, I would say many more people remember than even Maude.
Well, I always heard too that when they were casting the Golden Girls, they described Dorothy as a Bea Arthur type. And that's how it was described. So.
And did you know that she at first wasn't going to do it because at first Betty White was
supposed to
Blanche,
play Blanche,
and
Rue
McClanahan was supposed to be, and Rue McClanahan had been on Maude, of course.
Wasn't she going to play Rose? I guess.
Yeah, Rue McClanahan was going to be Rose, and so Bea Arthur said, "I'm not going to do another show where I'm just there with Sue Ann Nivens and Vivian from Maude." They switched it up, and then she was interested, and boy, that was a brilliant switch.
I think subverting people's expectations is always the right thing to do.
And as speaking of Sue Ann Nivens, like basically all of the cast of the Mary Tyler Moore Show died last year. I mean, like 5 of them.
We were
6 of them.
Constant mourning at one after the other. The rest of the living cast of Mary Tyler Moore Show died in a 12-month period.
Yeah. First on January 27th, then on May 29th, then August 29th, and then December 31st. Yeah.
We've got to never lose track of birthdays or death dates in this house.
Then also, was it like sometime was it June 11th? Another one.
Oh.
Yeah.
Hey, have any of you seen, I've posted about this a bunch, the infamous number that Bea Arthur does with Rock Hudson in her 1980 special?
No, I haven't seen it.
Oh my God. Carrie, I'm going to give you a list of things you have to link to. It's called Swig Puff. It's her and Rock Hudson, and it goes through the course of a dinner, and they're singing, you just won't even believe your ears that this was on network television, about like doing coke and poppers and smoking pot. It was just like, things were so different then in terms of what you could get away. You can't even believe what you're seeing. But of course, Bea Arthur, speaking of her television shows, and I love that special actually, but she was also on the 10 times more infamous Star Wars holiday special.
Right.
People, you've got lots of things to look up after this show.
Right. I do too. I don't always know everything about everything. Like when I do these shows, I'm learning along with the people watching because I can't know everything. there's totally blind spots and gaps in my knowledge. I will be the first to admit.
The Rock Hudson was a bust. I'm almost sorry we didn't plan for it and like screen share and show it because it's insane. Although I must say I always loved her singing voice. You know, that bold, brassy voice was so fun.
YouTube would take it down if we tried to do a screen share. But you know what? I've been watching it a lot because I just feel like it's brought me a lot of comfort during some pretty dark times in my life. And the other night I was watching the one where you just talked about her singing, Danny, where Blanche drags Dorothy to the rusty anchor. And then Dorothy surprises Blanche and everybody by actually being a good singer. And she sings Hard-Hearted Hannah, and just all the men are eating out of her hands, which is basically Blanche's worst nightmare. And then Blanche decides she's going to do a Marilyn Monroe thing and sing I Want to Be Loved by You, which is a disaster. And then that's a really fun episode.
I love that.
Sing a lot in that episode.
And of course, you all remember the other musical one when Dorothy and Rose write the song about Miami.
Oh, Miami, you've got style. That's the only part I remember.
Sunshine, white sands by the mile.
There you go.
Yes,
And famous...
and there's another one where she sings when she and Sophia do the Sadie Pines mother-daughter talent show.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
I got you, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember what that song was?
Huh?
Do you remember what the song was that they sang?
I got you, babe. Because she goes.
Oh, right. They were Sonny and
yeah.
Cher, remember? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
How could I forget my favorite song?
Yes. So they do I Got You, Babe on that one.
Mm-hmm.
And they started singing on the Henny Penny episode. When they do Henny Penny, The Sky is Falling, for the kids' like reading week. That's a good one too. So yeah, they all kind of get to sing and dance and show off like all sorts of different talents during the course of seasons.
Definitely. Here's my shot from Maude with the cast. Our friend Marcia was eternally sorry that she turned that down, but Adrienne Barbeau did a good job. And I wrote to her too and got back this funny letter about this one episode where, remember, I don't know if it was like a foster or like a big sister thing. She had this black girl come to the Finley's house, and you know, Florida and Carol were mortified because Maude was doing, as much as she's the liberal, every stereotype. And at one point she whispers to Florida, "Get rid of the fried chicken." So it's just the things that they dared to touch on. You just wouldn't do it today.
You couldn't.
Chicken.
You couldn't. It's really weird how there's certain things that are verboten today.
Absolutely.
Norman Lear was a real visionary. That guy was so far ahead of the curve.
And
so far ahead of the curve.
With us.
Huh?
Yes, may he be with us for a long time to come.
Maybe even like 10 years.
If he lasts 10 more years, he'll be on Charles's list of super centenarians. Who knows? It's funny because that she would be 100 today. We were watching Golden Girls every night. It's so current to me that I swear I would just expect to walk in the street and see her looking just like that. It just does not seem dated.
But you certainly could imagine Betty White at 100 because
well, we got to see Betty White age.
Yeah, well, and also like you could imagine her at 100 because there was like a picture from like just days before she died, and she was still looking amazing. Even though she was like literally almost 100 years old, her death was still quite shocking.
She did look amazing.
Yeah.
Well, I always talk about it on the tour, since Estelle Getty is on the cemetery tour, that a lot of 80s TV does not stand the test of time. Today, you watch it and it's so darn painfully dated. But the Golden Girls, it's fresh, it's funny, it's still so relevant, even more so in some cases. And it stands the test of time. And it's amazing because I'm sure many of you saw the post this week on Food and Wine magazine. They're bringing a Golden Girls restaurant to LA. And it's a temporary pop-up restaurant. I've gone to Golden Girls drag shows in LA and in San Francisco. All of us probably have Golden Girls memorabilia or things in our home. I mean, it's kind of incredible. You don't get that for Family Ties, Growing Pains, Miami Vice. Name any other 80s show that's still with us today.
They do not, most of them do not hold up at all. Some of them are painful to watch.
And I think too, in my opinion, I think seniors are so badly marginalized in our world. You do not see senior citizens that much in movies, television, pop culture. And if you do, a lot of times it's a bit role, the mean grumpy old man, the crazy nutty cat lady. But on the Golden Girls, they're the stars. They have dates, jobs, boyfriends, hobbies. They dance, they do charity work, they live life to the fullest. And based on the seniors I'm lucky enough to know, I think that's a much more accurate portrayal of life. And to me, that show just celebrates women, friendship, and making the most of life and age.
And we haven't had a lot of shows based on older women since. You'd think there would have been, you know, some imitators, but not even, you know, and there's so many great older actresses. I'm not saying they should reboot Golden Girls, but like, bring them on, bring them back.
Well, just because someone gets older doesn't mean they're out of stories to tell or life experiences. I find quite the opposite. But I think we live in a culture that is kind of worships youth above all else, you know, and that's a whole
remember being shocked
but
earlier this year when the sequel to Sex and the City came out, and Just Like That, and they said that the women in that show were actually older in actual age than the Golden Girls were the first season. And that just like blew everyone's mind because, you know, they were not, you know, they were like trying to be younger. I don't know. It's like there's something refreshing about Golden Girls. I mean, sure, Blanche was constantly lying about her age, but like, yeah, you know, here's where we are in our lives. That's just reality. We're proud of it. We've had a lot of experiences. Let's continue to have a good life. Why not? Jesus.
And like the oldest person that I've met is 112 years old. Although the oldest person I met in person was 103. Yeah.
My goodness.
Charles needs to start coming with you, Carrie, to your senior centers.
Right? Barbara works with seniors as well down in San Diego.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. They're the best. They're the best. And Charles, I love your t-shirt.
Oh yeah.
Barbara Stanwyck.
Yeah, sure. All of these people, they just have extraordinary stories. And
yeah.
I love them so much. I have an affection for them. Honestly, I really feel fulfilled talking with them, hanging out with them, performing or doing, you know, talks for them and stuff. So Charles, how did you get fascinated? Because for a young guy, I mean, you're 13, you are spiritually like 100. So I am too. So
I mean,
how did you get into wanting to learn about seniors, 100-year-olds?
Like when I was like 9 years old, so like about 4 years ago in July 2018, I was interested like in the presidents of the United States to see who would be the oldest living by the end of the year, and it turned out to be Jimmy Carter, who's still alive today at 97.
Yes.
But and
that just led to the superintendent.
And so then I decided to look up who the oldest person in the world was at the time, and I found a video of a 115-year-old Japanese woman named Kaya Tanaka, who just died on April 19th this year at 119 years and 107 days. She just lived 10 days past becoming the second oldest person to ever live. I mean, there's this website that I am a member of called the 110 Club, which is like a super centenarian forum. And when the previous oldest person in the world, Chio Miyako from Japan, had died at the age of 117 in July 2018, like before I found out about that article, like that they were shocked to see how young the oldest person in the world was at the time, because usually they were about like 117, but this one was only 115. But little did they know she would live to be 119 and become the second oldest person to ever live. That was. I mean, her ultimate goal was to reach 120, but she missed it by 258 days.
Oh, that's incredible.
You have one heck of a mind for numbers, Charles.
We celebrate all their birthdays.
Yeah, and,
we celebrated one a few days ago from Venezuela, so we make a meal.
And the oldest person alive today is a French nun who survived COVID days before her 117th birthday. She's 118 now, and the fourth oldest person to ever live. Yeah.
But they're all different, because every year when they ask this woman, Sœur André, what do you wish for your birthday? And her answer is, to die.
I mean, since she was like at least like 112, maybe even before that, she like has wished to die.
I think she has a good life. I mean, she seemed very pleasant, but she's, you know, sometimes you're done.
I mean, she's 118, so I mean, like, what could you expect? Yeah, the oldest person to ever live was another French woman named Jeanne Calment, who was 122. Yeah.
Wow.
I wish Bea Arthur was still with us. I remember running into her at a couple places in LA when she was, getting up there. And she was just always a delight to see. I think in real life, yeah, God, she almost looked a little bit older when she died, but in real life, she wasn't I don't think like Maude or Dorothy. I think she was pretty introverted. She could turn it on, God
she died
knows.
literally just about 48 hours before I was born. I mean,
yep.
Yeah, on April 25th, 2000.
Yes, I was writing a blog post about her death when you suddenly were born.
Yeah. I think her funeral service was actually on the day I was born.
Well, maybe you are her reincarnated.
I forgot to check. Do we know where Bea Arthur's buried?
I don't know.
I think Find a Grave says given to a friend, maybe cremated remains given to a friend, something like that. Because I looked that up too. I wish they could all be together at Hollywood forever. Wouldn't that be wonderful?
Oh my God. That would be
are any of the other Golden Girls there, Carrie?
Pardon?
None of the other Golden Girls are at Hollywood forever?
No, we just have Estelle Getty, which I love her and it's cool. I love having her there. And my phone just fell. Yeah, in my perfect world, we'd have all four of them, and it would be glorious. I mentioned this on the Betty White episode that we did when we were on lockdown. You know how the Golden Girls house that they used just for exteriors in Brentwood was for sale, and I met my friend Darren Barnes, his husband Eric, and my friend Jack Fields, and we all went down and kind of made it under the impression that we had the money to buy this place. Huh. I'm kind of bad about doing that. And anyway, so we went and we toured the house, and then Darren brought us all cheesecake in Tupperware dishes, and we all sat on the front lawn of the Golden Girls house in lockdown with our masks on and ate cheesecake out of Tupperware, and it was awesome. It was awesome.
I love it.
Yeah,
I hear the new owners are not into the Golden Girls connection, and they built a big fence covering up the house, and it makes me sad. It's like, why buy a house with a legacy like that and then totally,
I forgot about that. I thought maybe it was a real house in Miami, but no.
It's in Brentwood.
I remember when I went to the taping, I mean, I guess this is how all sitcoms are taped, but it was just this very, very long stage. And then they were just all right next to each other every set. So the bedroom, the nine, and they would just wander from set to set. I mean, that was I don't know why I only went to one if I could have gotten into more, because it was like going to a great Broadway play. They were so funny.
Which episode was it, Danny?
I can't remember the episode. I just cannot remember, because at the time I just wasn't that big of a fan yet.
Yeah.
I just remember doing that one scene 12 times and laughing every time the same way. Charles and I are upstairs screaming with laughter. I mean, we watch some shows and, oh, that's funny. We watched all the I Love Lucy's, we watched all the Dick Van Dykes. Sometimes you laugh out loud.
Those are all great.
They're brilliant. Yeah. But there's something, and it's always Bea Arthur, that just scream with laughter.
Her comments toward Rose.
Yeah, we do this contest here where we just say something random that Rose would say, and then how would Dorothy respond? Oh, is that a marrowbone, Dorothy? No, Rose, I just decided to murder the postman and cut his skeleton into little pieces for dinner. Just whatever we could think of.
One of my favorite moments is when she comes in and Rose says something about, oh, Dorothy, did you get fried chicken? And she holds up a pizza box and she's, extra flat and crispy. I was joking that if anyone didn't want to make some food, they could just plunk a pizza box on the table here and say, yeah, I got fried chicken.
Little inside joke for Golden Girls fans.
What would be your favorite Golden Girls episodes for each of you? I'll start with Danny and Charles.
Ooh, oh gosh.
That's a hard question.
I mean, they're all great.
The first one that comes to mind, because I have to admit, I love the flashback episodes where we get to see Estelle Getty and that woman who played maybe 19, 20-year-old Dorothy was fantastic. I've looked her up. I don't know what happened to her. I think she's more behind the scenes these days. She kind of looked like Bea Arthur. So I shouldn't say a favorite is one that Bea Arthur is barely in, because there's so many.
Probably since it was only the 80s.
Do you have a favorite?
She's probably still alive now.
Do you have a favorite?
Well, I mean, she would only be 60 something.
Right, that woman. No favorites. Let's hear other people's.
Oh, well, I mean, they're all
so funny. We've never been bored.
Allison, what's your favorite episode?
Like I said, that's hard. That's really hard to come up. I mean, there's just always something cool in each episode that she does, but for some reason, as I'm thinking about it, her last episode when she gets married with Leslie Nielsen, I mean, their little quips with each other, you know, and like what their relationship goes to a certain, she's like, we named it. I mean, just that kind of thing is just so funny. They were so good together. So that's the only one that's like a whole episode that I'm thinking of that I love the most, because there's just too many to choose from.
Barbara, what's your favorite Golden Girls?
Well, if forced to tell you, if I had to choose one, it would be when Dorothy's friend Pat came and fell in love with Rose. I love that. I love Lois Nettleton. She's a wonderful actress. I just adore her. And I always kind of hope that they might get together somehow. But I just think it's beautifully done and sweet and touching. And so, yeah, that would be one.
And way ahead of its time.
All about anything. That's one thing I always liked about it too, you know? Like when
and the funniest line in that episode was
Blanche. When Blanche says, well, I've never known any personally, but isn't Danny Thomas one?
Oh, right, that.
Yeah.
But also that she's so horrified when she finds out that she's interested in Rose and not her.
Yeah, like well, I'll bet to think Rose, to think Jamie preferred Rose over me.
That's right.
Yeah.
How many 13-year-old boys can you find that can quote lines from the Golden Girls?
And I'm thinking my favorite is when Stan's brother comes to town and Blanche throws herself at him, and then he winds up hooking up with Dorothy. And then Blanche goes, slut. And Dorothy, I? Have you heard the slogan? Join the Navy, see the world, sleep with Blanche Devereaux. You know, she does this whole speech. I can't remember all of them. Join the Marines, be all you can be, sleep with Blanche Devereaux. They're looking for a few good men who have not slept with Blanche Devereaux. I can't do the speech verbatim, but I laughed out loud so hard every single time.
One that we loved that we just saw was where I think Sophia knows is coming down from Italy and didn't know that Stan and Dorothy were divorced. They have to pretend that they're still together.
Yeah, the father, the priest.
That one.
Uncle Angelo.
Father Angelo.
Yeah.
I love Uncle Angelo. I like the one too where they get Uncle Angelo moves into the apartment building that Dorothy and Stan own, and he complains about the bugs, and then Rose does an expose on TV about it, and then they have to go to court because Dorothy gets arrested.
I'm still shocked by some of the guest stars they had. We just saw the one where, is it Bob Hope that suddenly appears at the end?
Yeah, and how old was he?
Yeah, that was Rose. Rose thought that was her father, her real father, when she was adopted.
Well, they also had,
Bob Hope also lived to be 100 years old.
They had Mickey Rooney, Debbie Reynolds, Eddie Bracken,
Susan we just saw the Debbie Reynolds one. That's right. And remember when Nancy Walker played Sophia's sister, Ida Morgenstern herself.
Yep.
So good.
Geraldine Fitzgerald and Ruby Dee were on the show.
Yes.
That's
another favorite.
I remember last August when there was a hurricane and like you posted a picture of Ida Morgenstern. Well, it was Hurricane Ida.
Oh, it was Hurricane Ida. Yeah. So we love Ida Morgenstern around here. Switching shows, but the same kind of general world.
Yeah.
And certainly Rhoda is one of those strong women of the 70s you're talking about.
Oh yes, loved her. Love. Yeah.
Ironically, the iconic Jewish character who wasn't Jewish in real life. Neither was Nancy Walker.
I got to see Nancy Walker in person once at the Old Globe in San Diego when I was a teenager.
Oh, was she?
I did a double take. She was just in the audience, but oh my gosh, just to see her in person was such a thrill.
Oh, well, Rue McClanahan, my father-in-law, was a playwright, and she was in one of his plays, and boy, there's these letters between them that I cherish. He loved her, and they had a real close relationship. She was great.
She did such a great Southern accent. Like, it's amazing when you hear her talk in interviews and she doesn't sound at all like Blanche. It's sort of a disconnect there.
And the crazy thing is that 3 of the Golden Girls had already died before I turned 2 years old, and then the last one lived until I was 12. So yeah.
Betty White was a force of nature.
She was also like the oldest of them all. So
yeah,
she was the last of them to die by like more than a decade.
Yeah, sadly, some of them died quite young.
Yeah, I remember finding like 70.
And it's someone tweeted when Betty White died, they said, no, she was the only thing holding our universe together. So it's sort of like.
So true.
Laura Gabriel and I found out about Betty White dying while we did a Hollywood Kitchen New Year's Eve marathon, a pre-code, because I'm not a New Year's person, so it felt like a fun thing to do. And we both were like texting each other, no, oh my God, we have to get on Zoom right now and discuss this. So we both took that real hard. That was
yeah, sorry, she couldn't join us today.
Hard news.
Mm-hmm.
Although what a great life lived, and just to imagine her with Alan Ludden again, that's how I see them.
Yeah.
And there's going to be a big Betty White estate sale. I think it's in September.
Wait.
Yep.
Her last words were like screaming out her husband's name. Yeah.
That's what they said.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think we'll probably all be on the lawn waiting to get in. I'm pretty sure.
Field trip.
Let's
I
get
did go to
park it there at 4 a.m.
I used several of my items from the Rosemary estate sale to make my soup. I have some stuff from her kitchen, which I treasure. I always go right to the kitchen at those estate sales to see like what was Rosemary, Sally Rogers making her pancakes with every day.
I went to that estate sale too, Danny. It was great.
You were at that one?
Yeah.
Oh, did you buy anything?
I got a little like a sugar bowl and creamer with roses on it from her kitchen.
Her kitchen stuff was amazing.
It was fantastic.
We also went to another estate sale where we got like 1 billion like boxes of like
Carrie was at that one.
Things, like,
The famous John Palmer.
That was the estate sale to end all estate sales. That was the Mac Daddy of estate sales.
And that was just a fan who collected things over, including our life-size Deanna Durbin standing right there by the windows.
Oh.
You know what amazed me, Danny, is, I don't get to as many estate sales as I would like because of the cemetery tour and all, but it amazes me how organized that guy was at that estate sale, because every one of those binders of his fan scrapbook stuff, the estate sale guy, they were all in alphabetical order. They were so organized. Like, I thought he would have been a librarian or an archivist, which turns out he wasn't.
Right.
But he should have been, because that is one of the most organized people I've ever seen.
I was mad because I looked this morning. We have about 50 of those binders.
Yeah, and we brought home an entire Barbara Stanwyck binder, and
thanks to Carrie.
We put up like pictures of Barbara Stanwyck all around my room. So.
But we have all the A's except for the one slice where Bea Arthur would have been, because he would just collect photos and magazine articles, and I wanted to see what that would have been. But
well, there probably will be Bea Arthur adjacent stuff at Betty White's sale. I would be surprised if there were not things. But...
Allison, what are those Maud things? Are they photographs?
Yeah, show us what you got in the background.
Collection of Maud. Season 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6.
Nice.
So,
oh, you mean they were like books?
No,
the DVD.
It's the whole show.
Oh my God. All right, everyone be at Allison's house in an
hour. Slumber party.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Wouldn't that be fun with some cheesecake?
Yes.
If I had a bigger space and parking, I swear I would have theme parties every single weekend going on. Oh my God. So any other thoughts any of you want to share about Bea Arthur, her life, her career, her food? Anything else anyone would like to add?
I did hear she was a really good cook. So, I think some of the things, I think she really was making food. She cooked for her boys and her husband.
Yeah, and also in a lot of the episodes, Sophia is like always cooking too.
We were just noticing last night how virtually every episode, like half of it's in the kitchen. So we're excited about that Golden Girls pop-up. Let's all meet there.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes, I'm in.
I'm so in. And the thing is too, like, even stuff that was just inspired by the show, because usually on the show, it seems like the Rose Nyland, Betty White, and then Sophia are always the ones cooking, and then Blanche and Dorothy are just either eating or picking up to-go food or something. But I think her character probably did cook, and I'm sure she did in real life as well, based on, you know, there's quite a number of recipes out there for her. And again, based on her lamb recipe that she talks about in her show.
And the one last thing I'll say, because I just, you know, there's so many indications. I'm sure she had her moments and could be prickly, but she was just like this wonderful, generous person. And Adrienne Barbeau, who, as I mentioned, was not the first Carol, came in and she was very new. And she says today, like, I had no idea how lucky I was, because she just didn't know that it was rare, because she took her under her wing. She basically taught her how to act. She cared, you know, taught her how to look at her contracts. I mean, they were friends till the day Bea Arthur died. And, you know, that didn't have to be the case.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, she all accounts lead to that she was a pretty remarkable woman. Besides being that talented, you know, score.
Definitely. I love that we're still talking about her and remembering her, and that she'll just always be with us. So new people will discover her. I love that about today's world with the internet, you know, that people will always be able to see them and discover the people that we love. So
and if she'd lived just 2 more days, 3 of the 4 would have been alive when I was born, but only 2 were.
Darn it.
And then, yeah.
And I know Barbara has it. This cookbook is a lot of fun.
Okay.
yeah.
It's got food that is inspired by the show. And it's tons of really great recipes. Southern food for Blanche, Italian food for Sophia. And there's a lot of good stuff in here. So if you don't have it yet, there's tons of these on Amazon. And this is a really fun book. And it's got all sorts of great photos in here, recipes, even little cartoons of some of the best one-liners. So it's worth picking up the Golden Girls cookbook.
Maybe we need to work on a Maud cookbook somehow.
Oh, yeah.
That'd be fun.
That.
Get a lot of political content in there.
That's a great idea. And if any of you ever get the chance, there's Casita del Campo in Silver Lake. They have a basement theater. I forget what the name of it's called, but it's in the basement of it. And they do Golden Girls drag shows every so often. And they are so good. It's so funny. I kind of forget I'm watching a drag show, and I just forget that I can almost imagine I'm watching a live taping of the show. Like, it's that funny. And just when the audience laughs, it kind of just feeds everything. Like, you can feel the energy in the room. And it's a tiny little theater. I mean, maybe 40 to 50 people can squeeze in. And once those tickets go on sale, they get bought up in a nanosecond. So I'll have to post the next time those go on sale.
Oh, that'd be
That'd
so
be great.
fun.
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
And just the sight gag of, because Bea Arthur was 1 foot taller than Estelle Getty, and just to see them together, I'm sure the drag queens have a ball with that.
Oh, it's kind of like Laurel and Hardy, where you've got the tall one and the shorter, you know, or you've got the different sizes, kind of make the comedy funnier too, in a way, you know, because there's just such a, like the episode where the family comes over from Italy and they think there's been a mix up in the hospital because the daughter is like, you know, Sophia's size and the parents are really tall. And let's see if we're getting any questions from the viewers. Okay, well, Charles has got some fans out there. People are saying Charles is amazing. I agree. And Krista Lawler, hello, Krista, we miss you, we love you. Maud is on Tubi for free. Been watching this. I think I know for research what I was going to be. Okay, so yes, let's see.
Oh, I will look for it.
Karen Hansberry says, I can't wait to check out the show with Bea and Rock Hudson.
Oh,
yes.
It's a must.
Krista Lawler, Rose and Blanche were collecting lingerie for needy, sexy people.
Oh, yeah.
So those are basically the comments that are popping up so far. But if you guys wanted to go on there and just comment or answer any questions, sometimes like we'll be doing the show and I'll check my phone and there's like 10 comments. I'm like, oh, okay. And then I log off and then like 10 minutes later, there's like 80 comments and they don't pop up until later. And I'm like, So if you guys want to go on there, if there's any questions you want to answer, it's fun to kind of, you know, engage with people on this topic that we love.
Well, thank you for doing this, Carrie. Well deserved for Bea Arthur.
Thank you. Yes, and everybody, your food turned out really well. Let's see your Chinese chicken salad, Allie. Can we see it?
If I don't spill it, but yes.
Okay.
Ooh, that looks
Good.
delicious.
Send us some
Come over.
Danny, let's see the chicken soup.
Charles is snarfing away at it, so.
Oh my God, Charles is so funny. When we did the Anime Wong episode at Danny's house, Danny had to like ban Charles from the kitchen because he was eating all the food we were gonna have on dinner.
He probably ate 50% of the Anime Wong tea cakes, I admit. They were very good.
They were. And Barbara, let's see that ice cream again. I need some.
It's kind of melted, but there it is.
Geez, I need that.
All the better. I hope you're going to eat all of it as soon as we sign off.
Can't waste it.
Well, and this drink, I finished this whole drink on camera here. Oh, did I need this? This was very refreshing. Like I said, I cut way down on the sugar and I didn't do any alcohol in it, but it was very good. And if you have a little basil growing on your porch or anywhere, I definitely recommend making a basil lemonade cooler, or a lemon basil cooler as it's called.
It's sweet, maybe.
Nice.
I mean, like.
All right. So thank you guys. This was a lot of fun. Thank you to all of you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you all.
And this was great. And yeah, send me the links you'd like me to post on the blog. Everybody send me a picture of your food, send me links. And people will be able to do a very deep dive into the glorious, enjoyable world of Bea Arthur once I get the blog post up. So that will be fun.
Yeah.
Excellent.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much. And thank all of you for tuning in to Hollywood Kitchen. We'll see you again very soon.